because I would watch guys who golf and they weren't necessarily in the best shape. And I was like, okay, so like, I guess if I have that body type, I'll be much better at golf.
Rock the John Daly, rock the John Daly type. To quote him, he said, he can't pull fat.
Guys, this is Ube. He's cinematographer, videographer, really freaking good. One of the dudes I noticed once I got into golf, the stuff he puts up is not, those are not videos. I would say they're like mini films. And I really love that you're like, I don't give a fuck if everything's vertical. We're going landscape. And I love that. I love that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you for the words, and then also your content as well. Like, as part of this kind of landscape we're in of creating just different storylines and places in golf, I think I enjoy watching the stuff that you put out in terms of how visual it is and how underlying some of the messaging is, and also the folks that you've kind of been working with. And it's also enjoyable to see another creator kind of in the space just killing it. So thank you for having me in the seat. This is kind of cool.
It's been interesting trying to navigate through this space, what I thought I wanted to do, and now where it's shaping up to where it's like, okay, well, maybe it's time to pivot and no more doing this in golf. We're in golf now. Let's do only this now in golf. So I'm still trying to find my way, I feel like, through the space of golf, because I would say still really new to it, you know?
For sure. Yeah, I think we touched on it a little bit before, but like, what was that point where you were comfortable with that pivot? Just one into the space, and then also just like from a content perspective, like when did you know?
Honestly, possibly at the top of last year. It was like, yeah, I was getting hit up. I would get hit up a lot, YouTube golfers and things like that. And I would dabble into it. I would create some of my own stuff, which I took all down because it's so cringe and it was so hard to watch. But I would say at the top of last year was like, okay, we're only going to do golf, specifically niche down, because I'm not filming weddings. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not doing weddings. I'm not doing birthdays. I'm not doing real estate. I'm not doing any of the stuff that obviously I'm not passionate about, because then it would just be for a check, which is fine, but it better be a big check, because that is so much time away versus like, I'd rather be A, getting better at golf, or B, getting better at filming golf, because those are the two things that I'm trying to do, like, you know, running parallels with each other. So let's say at the top of last year where it was like, we're all in for golf and that's all we're going to do.
Yeah, you got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy it like wholeheartedly, not just at the end of the day, but just through that like entire process, right?
Yeah. When I would come home at the end of the day, see how I felt, because it's not always going to be good days, but at the end of the day, are you still excited about what you're doing? Is this going along the lines or along the path of like, hey, all the awesome stuff I feel like I did before with like fighters and athletes? It was like, I'm trying to find that same thing in golf. And some of the stuff that I was doing last year, I was not pumped on. I was excited in the beginning, but then initially, once I see like over the entire scope of like, not the messaging of stuff that I was putting out, but the people I was creating for at the time, or brands I was working with or whatever, it was just like, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like, this isn't it, you know? Walked away from from some jobs to which is what you have to do. I feel like get the stuff that you want to come in, you have to get rid of all that other crap, is what I've noticed. I did that in MMA, did that NFL stuff, all of that stuff, and eventually all the good things started to roll in.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. Like, part of the stuff along the journey was, what are the things you say yes to and what are the things that say no to? Because based on those decisions, then you kind of get put in that bucket, right? Like, he or she's only does these type of videos, or he or she does all these types of videos. So when it comes to like your personal brand perspective, I think that needs to be like a very conscious decision, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're all over the place, then if someone wants to reach out, it's like, is that their specialty, or are they just doing it for the check?
Exactly, 100%. I know a lot of guys who are super talented, like behind the camera and their edits and everything like that. But I guess it's just different when it's like, when you find a specialist. You know, because this is like what they do, what they want to do. And I think you'll see that translate into the work that will go out there, especially behind the scenes of like talking with some of the people in the space, you know, where it'll be someone who just wants to punch the clock, be like, no, I'm done. It's 5 o'clock. We're out. No, don't care if I didn't get any B-roll. No, don't care. I'll figure it out. It makes a difference, especially for clients, I would say. And then even just being able to like communicate with clients like well. Because I'm sure you know a ton of people that are like really, really good and really talented, but just terrible people skills. it's rough out there hiring. Yeah, for sure.
That's like, it's also tough, right? Because sometimes some of those things are just cold. Like, I just don't know you, or
Yeah.
you don't know that person, so you
Yeah.
don't know what the vibe is like.
That's true.
So I think it's really great when you kind of get into that referral space and it's like, okay, well, I kind of know him. This is kind of his vibe, or this is her vibe, and this is what could be expected. And
Yeah.
I think it just becomes a little bit more fluid when it happens that way, versus like the times you need to reach out and you're like, do we have to put on kind of that retail smile face and like, let's be buddy buddy, when like, honestly, are you like that all the time?
Yeah.
So it just kind of cuts through the noise a little bit more, when it comes to like just client shooting relationship.
Yeah, dude. Let's talk about you. let's tell everyone your social security number, everything, address, all that stuff. What is your day to day look like? Like Monday through Friday, what are you doing?
Now, sitting in front of a computer editing.
Okay, so you're editing a lot more.
I have a couple of kids at home. So there's a fine line and balance between raising kids and then also balancing the things that you want to do in the golf space, right?
Yeah.
So I think from a weekly basis, it's when you kind of fill in shooting times, when you fill in editing times, when do you kind of
That's
balance,
amazing
when
you
you
can do
balance life stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty ad hoc. So they're young. One's potty trained, one is not. So just going through that whole experience, and then also trying to create kind of secondarily and making time for that to happen. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind like the past couple of years in adjustment and creating. So just really kind of that mantra of like taking it a day at a time has been the thing. Yeah, it's kind of like the week. Like when do you find a pocket of time to edit? And really when it comes to like some of the content pieces, aside from like when they kind of get scheduled from the client side, is you're really kind of just sitting on the couch, you're watching a kid's show, and it's like, oh, I have a good idea. All right, I have a 2-hour block this evening. Can I film this inside or outside? Does it have to be outside? All right, maybe we go outside tomorrow for an hour. We'll film it. We'll edit it. We'll throw it online somewhere, and it is what it is.
I'm even more impressed now knowing you have little ones and you've been able to put out the stuff you've put out. Incredible. Because I know, my brother, I have 3 nephews, and I see like all the stuff that he has to do on a day-to-day with 3 boys. You know, they're all in different sports and different things, and it's just like, I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Well,
yeah.
Good support system at home, great grandparents, and
That's awesome.
to be able to kind of make time and spend time. But as you probably know, family's always first, right? But
Yeah.
like also, how do you support them in that way, and then also kind of live out the things that you want to live out?
Yeah.
So I think when you think about it, I'm sure you may be in the kind of the same kind of area, but if you're like all in something, you really try to make that piece happen, not only because you want to do it, but it just kind of makes you feel a certain way of accomplishment and kind of a reflection of who you are. So yeah, just kind of really just trying to do as I can and kind of make it work.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I think it's also amazing that your kids see you doing that still. Like, obviously, they're still super young, but the fact that they still see you, like, out there creating, like, the shapes and visuals they probably see right now, maybe not understanding it yet, but as they, I'm sure, grow older and then they see, like, dad out there, like, creating these awesome pieces of work, it's like, that's kind of cool. That's probably really cool for a kid to see.
Yeah, it makes you feel like a certain way. So like my son, he like identifies certain golf things with me, even if it's not me. So like I'll have him next to me, like in the computer, like editing stuff, and just kind of asking him questions so he can kind of just observe the process.
Yeah.
And some days he'll like see golf on TV, and then he'll be like, "Dad at golf."
That's cool.
Just like randomly.
That's really cool.
I think when it comes to not only creating, right, but like how do we impact others in the game, it's kind of cool that some of it's kind of stuck with him at a young age. I don't know if it's going to stick with him however long, but just kind of seeing that little pocket of time where he identifies something I'm very passionate about and he relates to it in a certain way.
That's so cool.
So like
That's
little
really
moments
cool.
like that are really cool when it happened. So yeah, I think that's
really
kind
cool.
of fun.
Yeah, that's strong. That's awesome, man. That's one day for me. Yeah, one day. One day. Probably in the next 3 years, which is why it's so important for me to get, like, I feel like really dialed in on what it is I want to do, what it is I want to shoot in this space, because it's really tough to leave your, like, bread and butter, where it's you can be in this space making X, Y, and Z amount of dollars, doing all these crazy things, and it's awesome and it's fun, it's stable, it's great, and you, like, walk away from it to go like into a new spot. I think as time has gone on in the space of golf, like I can see a lot more clearer of what it looks like, not at the finish line, but I would say just like a little bit further down the road with like how I think it'll go as far as creating in the space.
How nervous were you when you made the jump?
It was 2020, dude. Here we go. So backtracking. So I'm originally from California. I lived in Nashville for about 3 years. And in that time, that's when, filming really kicked off over there. If you're a Californian and you go to like a Nashville or any of these like southern states, we stand out so much because we work so much faster than all of them. Just naturally. You don't even have to try really hard, but you will be faster than them. You will be more consistent than them. Let's just say for like a 30-second reel, one of like their best like creators out there will probably take about 2 weeks to get it back to you, where it's like we can do like 2 days, maybe a day, depending on scheduling. So everything really popped off over there, because I wouldn't even say I was like the best one over there or anything like that. It was just like the most consistent, and I can get it back to you pretty fast, whatever it was. So things were great. At the same time, I was building a travel channel, making travel guides, like video travel guides. I would do resort reviews, building and growing, and that was going to turn into a full-time thing. And I just needed to take the leap of faith, where it was, I'm not going to film for anyone anymore. All I have to do is this travel channel. And we're going to start in March of 2020.
What happened then?
Nothing, not much, except for you just couldn't travel for the next year. You couldn't really do much in that space. So got rid of the channel. Was like, damn, I guess we got to film again. I was supposed to take the rest of this year off and travel. We moved back to California at that time to be close to real international airports. So we were in Sacramento. The world was like, cool. Check this out, though, And so I had to pivot. And there was nothing to do in Sacramento at the time in 2020. And the only thing I saw people outside doing was, like, people were playing golf. And I was like, I guess you could play golf. And I was like, all right, well, let's go do that. Like, just do something and be out. So I went, and obviously I'm ultra competitive, so I don't want to suck at it. So I went and played, sucked at it. But my uncle was like, I guess I shot close to 100 or something. Like, he kept my score. I didn't know any of the rules or nothing, but I shot something close to 100. And he's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be shooting that like right now, your first time out. And I was like, I don't know anything. Just hit and go. And I was like, man, dude, I don't want to suck at this. We got to figure this out. I got addicted and went on YouTube and was like, I need to know everything. So I saw Peter Finch, Rick Shields videos. I saw the Good Kids, all of that stuff. And then that's what, like, there may be something here with, like, filming it, but I don't know yet. And I don't think anyone's going to take me serious if I suck at golf. So we got to figure this out. I saw Rick Shields do a review on a Costco set of clubs. I was like, we need to go get those. So we were in Sacramento, and the only Costco that had them was at the Tustin Marketplace over here. My girlfriend and I drove down literally to just get those clubs and get that set. But yeah, we got those clubs, and then I was grinding every day, twice, 3 times a day, putting in the house, watching videos. It was nonstop. I couldn't get enough. Playing all the time. Eventually started filming a couple things here and there, and then we made the move down here to Southern California, and it was off to the races. Moved into this place because of obviously this behind us, and yeah, I was like, where are all the golf courses? Put me right next to those. At the time when I looked at like a Rancho San Joaquin right there, I was like, dude, yeah, like that's like a luxury course, I bet. I was like, I don't know shit. Like, yeah, I could walk there, literally with my bag. I've never walked there, not once. I could go there all the time. I don't even go there. Yeah. That was that.
Shout out to the supportive significant others.
Yeah.
If you have one in your life, shout out to them.
Yeah. It was a lot to kind of see that transformation of, wait, you're going to leave not doing this stuff anymore you're going to go into this stuff, and it's not going to make as much as like this stuff made. But yeah, I did it smart though. Like I had time. I don't party. I'm pretty damn boring actually. Like I like food, fights, and golf now, obviously. That's the most expensive thing. And then my dogs, and that's, yeah, I don't drink. Yeah,
No, you just have minimal vices.
yeah, pretty much.
I'm sure if you rewound it, like, I don't know, maybe 7-10 years, the answer would probably be a little bit different, right?
No, it's the same, dude. Same. Pretty boring. Pretty boring. Pretty boring. Even more disciplined back then, too, because I always had to be in shape, always had to be, like, dialed in on everything, food, all this stuff. So, yeah.
That's discipline and commitment.
It's a good thing I don't like certain vices because I would be straight drug addict probably, dude. I'd be out here on the streets. But luckily, the passions go to golf and things like, whatever I suck at, I just got to get better at it.
That's fair. I think anyone that plays golf has a slightly addictive personality, right?
They got to, right?
Like, how are you going to spend 4 hours trying to hit a little ball around?
Bro, I was thinking that before. So before you got here, I was like practicing and I probably hit like 75 chip shots already. And I was thinking like, am I a psychopath for as much as I do this? Like he's probably going to think I'm crazy or something. And then I think, but I'm like, I wonder what he thinks about like, but who signs up for 4.5 hours to pay all this money so you can be terrible at it? I don't know. I can't see that part of golf.
And then you go home and practice your putting after the round.
Yeah, like
and then turn on the golf channel.
Then you turn on the golf
to
channel.
see highlights.
Yeah. But it's like, but that's to me is like when people do it casually, it's like, that's great. That's awesome. I just can't connect to that. Like never invite me to a scramble. I am not the guy to go to a scramble for a good time. If you put me in the scramble team, whoa, you better be dialed, dude. I am trying to win, and we are not coming in last or second, and we're not there for the freaking gift bag. Where's the trophy? I want that. That's what I want.
Congrats on your recent hardware.
Oh, thanks, dude. Appreciate it. I don't go for the food, the alcohol, or anything. I go literally to try to win everything. It's kind of a problem.
It's a competitive thing. You're not going to go there to finish second.
Who does that? Or like who wants to go? Like, I don't know. Just I can't wrap my head around that. I just can't.
Like any sport, right? There's like a challenger like, okay, I'm proficient at X. Yeah, I want to do well.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to go through the motions.
No, absolutely not.
The competitive like trash talking nature, feel that those are vibes, right? And like some people would say like, oh, you're just a certain way, right? But like I think that just translates like, oh, wanting to win and wanting to have a good time, like those are very synonymous things.
Yeah.
Like others are like, I just want to have a good time and just play like whatever. So I think for some people like those just have to happen, right? You got to play well, and then that also just translates into having a good time.
Yeah.
Versus just hitting golf shots because you're just hitting golf shots.
Yeah. It's kind of a problem.
Do you feel that same way like when you're creating? Like is there that same type of like trigger switch?
That's a good question. That's bad because I know what the answer is. Oh man. Wow, this guy. This is my show, okay? I do the questions here. Right? No, I don't have that. Yeah, I don't have that when I'm creating. I want to do really well, but I never look at anybody's stuff to be like, I want to be better than this person. I want to be better than that. Because I don't think there's a way to scale it also too. It's hard to say. At the end of the day, it's still art at a certain point. And art is super subjective. So if we put 10 people in a room and we showed them like our 2 videos of maybe the same thing, 7 of them may like yours and 3 of them will like mine. But I don't think it'll ever be like 10 of them only like this one, Yeah. One of ours will speak to one person in there. So that's what's hard about thinking about like in a competition type of way or like anything like that.
Has the process changed though? So like you had the travel channel before. I'm just naturally curious. So you had the travel channel before. Now you have you're in the golf space now. As the process of like making sure you're structured and like set up for the shoot from like from pre-production to post-production, has that kind of been the same, or have there been like some major changes in kind of that kind of process?
Yeah, it's way different because of my own stuff. Doing that, I could be way more structured out for it, which I would be. But anything with golf has always been run and gun all the time. It's run and gun. Like we hardly ever get to plan stuff out and then do that plan. And things happen, you know, I get it. There's like scheduling things and scheduling conflicts, or the time we thought we were going to have, we're not going to have that, or we're going to have half of it or a quarter of it. So now we just got to switch on the fly. So it is what it is. But in golf, I have not been able to really plan out shots. I have things that I know I want to capture, but it has to be in a really controlled environment to do it. And I haven't been given, I would say, that opportunity yet. And even if it was, if it's for a client, it's something that it's just still standard to me. It's not like we could really put, because what I would want to do is really push the edge of like, well, let's get this angle and let's get this and let's get that. But then you're still under the guidelines of either the company or the brand or whatever it may be still, where it's like you can't get this, you can't get that, you can't show this, you can't show that. So it's still very guided content, I would say. And the best stuff I feel like I've done has been the stuff that I got to do on my own, which didn't come with a check. Funny enough, and especially in the MMA space, the best stuff I did where it was like I planned it, shots, all of that, best product I feel like I've ever made, and also the product that grabbed the most attention to brands and clients and other fighters and all this, where it was like a flood of stuff that just came in after that.
I mean, that speaks to me too. Like some of the stuff that you do for yourself ends up being sometimes more rewarding, even though you don't see numbers from it, whether it's been an engagement perspective or if it's from a monetary perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like you just create something like, you know what, I actually really enjoyed creating that. I don't really care like what happens, but going through that process and just seeing it, I was like, wow, that was fun to do. And it's funny because sometimes you do those things and nothing really happens, but then you use it as like a reference piece to like any other future conversations about this piece was from pre-production to post.
Yeah.
No direction. This is kind of the storyline. This is what happened. So it does show from like a client perspective. It's like, yeah, kind of has an idea of what needs to be done, right? So I think you pull up a good point is sometimes from a creative's perspective, getting a little bit more of the reins is always enviable. But at the end of the day, as long as you're creating stuff for yourself, you kind of balance that out.
That's why like even doing this right now is like fun for me, where it's just chill. It's just, you know, it's something like I wanted to do for a long time, because I think the creator should get highlighted a lot more because of, I mean, obviously we're always behind the scenes, but I think there's also some stars that are behind the scenes, you know? Like I think you're one of them. I think when all the stuff popped off with Block and everything like that, I remember your video the most out of everybody's thing. Because I know everybody was posting like crazy, like anybody's shaking Block's hand or having a drink with Block. Everybody was posting their Block stuff. But your video was so freaking good. It was like, I couldn't even like, I wanted to post something, but I was like, if it had to think of it as competition, I'm like, I'm not gonna sniff that. I'm not even gonna sniff it. That's like perfect to where I'll be disappointed at whatever I do. Haven't seen it yet. Just go look at his Instagram. I think you pinned it, right? You have Block pinned. Yeah, good. You should pin it.
That was one of the ones you do for yourself, right? So like there was no client, there wasn't anything. It felt like a really good story to tell at the time because it was golf and it happened. And you wanted to put a lens on it. Also, I don't think Blocky's human, by the way, after that. Like, he is just on this incredible run. I think he competes this year at the PGA.
I think so, too. I'll be with him in 24 hours. And, interested to see where his head's at. Yeah, see, I guess just seeing how the road to how do you make a living at playing golf besides the PGA Tour and besides the Live Golf Tour, which I'm really big fan of, by the way. I don't know, where do you sit on that stuff? I really enjoy it. I've enjoyed it since it came out. I enjoyed it because it was an option. I enjoyed it because it was new and fun and different. I don't like all the back and forth, obviously, of like PGA and Live. I don't like any of that stuff, but I like that the guys have options. I don't think about the established ones. I think about the up and comers, they could have an option now, possibly to go here or they can go there.
Yeah.
I like that part of it, and because it's competition and they're getting better because there's now two people in the space versus just one, because things did get better, right, for the PGA Tour.
I am a fan of both, right? I'd
Yeah.
play a pro-am in any event they'd let me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that'd be sick.
How good are you with change? Like, do you like it or not like it? I mean, old heads are like, nah, we need to keep it like this. And new folks are like, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
I think it's here to stay. I like what they're doing. I think it's a new change. I think it's a new perspective on golf. Like, I like golf at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I like watching good golf and exciting golf. And does that mean it has to be a shotgun start where everyone finished at the same time? Maybe. It's exciting to watch when everything does come down to a last hole.
Yeah.
I think it shortens the round a little bit. Do I like the traditional method with PGA? Absolutely. It's kind of what you grew up on. Like, how do you not like it? I think it'd kind of be hypocritical to say you didn't. I mean, if you watched any Tiger major championship or kind of any high-level golf, it's kind of been like that for a long time, like the whole time that I've kind of watched golf. So I can't say I don't like it, but I do like the new structure of change. I think it's really interesting. I do dislike that it's created this whole shift of like good and bad.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see the dynamics of fans and people and everything. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think we win. I think fans win.
Yeah, I think there's two things, right? I think you can't have the money conversation. Like, I think it's hard to have the money conversation for two reasons, or for one big reason. It's like, if you watch sports, let's just take the fact that it's out of, like, it's not golf. NFL players get a contract to play.
Yeah.
Win or lose,
Yeah.
they're guaranteed money, right? PGA, you got to play well. You got to pay to play, right? You just got to make it.
Yeah.
But you still have endorsement deals that you get money to rock it, to show up. So it's hard to say, well, you can't have the money, even though that it may come from different sources. I think you've got to start diving kind of deep into the dirt. Be like, well, money's still kind of dirty.
No, no matter
wherever
yeah,
you get it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a tough pill.
Yeah, 100%.
But it is great for the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, PGA has benefited from that. I mean, even the last event, right? The winner got 3.6 mil.
It wasn't that before.
It wasn't that before. It was the same money as the major.
Yeah, that's insane.
I had to look it up. I was like, well, that seems like a lot of money for a pro.
That's a lot of money.
Like, considering the FedEx Cup is as much money you get, it's a lot for early February.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take 10th. I'll take 10th all day.
They give a lot of money for 20th.
Yeah, they get a lot of money for 20th. Yeah. Who's Kevin Kisner? Kisner. Yeah. See, he seems like my kind of dude. He seems like he would be good on Live, to be honest. He'd be fun. Yeah, there's some players that I feel like I wish would go over there because I would just love to see more of their personality come out.
Who would you want to see go?
Kevin Kisner. Kevin Kisner. I'd want to see Fowler go. I'd want to see Joel Damon. I would like to see him go. Harry Higgs. I would like to see him go. So these are more I would say, their characters already, and I think they would just get amplified even more if they went over there.
Yeah.
But those are ones I would like to see go.
I like the Higgs pick. Higgs seems like a really interesting dude.
And then can I say this actually too right now?
What?
It's kind of bad, but dude, I want to play golf more than I want to film. Is that bad?
No, it's not bad.
Because I literally just want to compete. That's all I want to do.
All right, here's this. When you shoot, do you play golf at all that day?
Yeah, it depends. If I'm shooting for the client, then depending what I got, but usually I'll try to schedule things so I can either practice before or practice after or play after or play before. Yeah, so on the same day, sometimes yes and sometimes no.
Because you should, because you can't just pull up to the golf course and not hit any shots. So that should just be baked into everything.
It's so hard, though. It's so difficult. So filming yourself play golf is always hard.
No, but I get you. You want to play. I want to play. If I were just to play, that is enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's golf, right? It's kind of why we got all into this. We enjoyed the game. I don't think we got into it. It's I enjoy filming the game. No, I genuinely enjoy playing golf. So when there are times you just want to play and you don't have to shoot, that's just kind of serene. It just doesn't happen that often. Because like you said, you got to set up the camera, you got to make sure the angle's
so
right.
Much. It's so much. Yeah.
Right? And then if you have to do tracers, you got to tell the person not to stand in front of the tracers. Like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But we just click a button.
Yeah.
Just a button.
Oh, 100%. We just throw this in an app and it just does it for us. Pricing wise, accessibility in Southern California, I don't think is that good. I think it's gotten kind of out of control as far as like when I got here in 2020 and seeing it like completely rise up. Now looking back at it, I'm like, shit, I should have just joined a club for as much as I was playing and practicing, which that's obviously what we're doing going forward. I think it could be cheap. I think it's accessible for kids.
Yes. Well, yes and no. So they have, it's like the Youth on Course program.
Yeah. My nephew's a part of that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't have that when I was a kid.
Okay.
So seeing that is fantastic. No one knows about Youth on Course. Like with a playing adult, I think the kid's $5 at like
$5.
Participating courses. Like
Yeah.
no better way to get into the game.
You can play Pebble Beach for $5.
For $5.
Yeah. It's like a year waiting list, but you can play it eventually.
Yeah.
For $5. Like that's amazing.
Like that is a great program. Like part of the reason I stopped golfing was because my junior rate expired. Like it just got really expensive.
Oh,
so then like
shoot.
you just like you got to work, you got to play, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think for kids like or to a certain age, like the more that we can make that accessible for them, like that could potentially be life-changing for them to get out of maybe some experiences they shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
And really just kind of learn part of the game and also just life skills that you might not normally get. And
Yeah.
kind of have fun playing it. So I think how can we increase that from Southern California to more counties or states that are like that? I think Costco actually has a really good opportunity because they have the clubs, right? But what if they
Opened up their own course.
opened up the course, or like with country clubs, right? They have
Yeah.
reciprocals.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine? Like, I'm a Costco club member, so I get a reciprocal to play it at like these 10.
Hell yeah.
Like these 10 courses in my state.
Yeah.
Like right when we kind of think about that, things like oh,
That's sick.
Like what can you
think about
create
it.
that kind
That's
of
a really good idea.
like it'll just change?
We're
if I would've-
clipping this for
right?
sure right now. Yeah.
Like that would
That's
be
amazing.
That'd be kind of neat. Like you've seen kind of the fruits of playing the game, and it's gone to creating a career in just creating and working with these brands and athletes and personalities that you're kind of able to shed a light on. And what if there's a kind of a kid out there that kind of ends up going that same route, or even maybe a little bit older due to the access they have of the game? Like where do they take it? So I think how can we do that aside from just kind of making really hypey things? I think that's also kind of the exciting part. Like you just never know who's going to watch it or who's going to see something that might pick up a club and be like, oh, yeah, that seems kind of cool. I'll try it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. See, you talk so much better than me. You need a show.
It's actually really uncomfortable for me.
You wouldn't know it. Just like taking the fucking barbarian ways of my talking and just like making it smooth. I think about the high school that I came from. I know for a fact I didn't know if we had a golf team or not. There's no way. The only way you were going to go to college is you have to play sports. That's the only way.
Yeah.
If you don't play sports, you probably ain't going to college. Like you can go to community college, maybe. You know, if you could tell me like, oh, I could play on a golf team that literally only has like 4 people on it, you know, from that area maybe. And it's like, yeah, but you have a much higher chance of going to a college because of this. Like, dude, that would be amazing.
It's spoiled out here in California in terms when it comes to I think it just
Yeah.
comes to access, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard for me though, because when I go to Northern California, when I go back home, it's $3 for like 150 balls.
It's like 20, it's 25. It's like ridiculous here.
At Oak Creek, it's $20 for not even 100.
No, but you get half grass sometimes.
Sometimes it's kind of grass. It's kind of not really grass, but it's, you know, and then if you want to chip, it's $16 an hour to chip.
Yeah, no, that is no.
But if you need that kind of grass, then what are you gonna do?
No,
you know?
the whole paying for chipping thing. That's something that kind of blows my mind. Like maybe that's just
telling me.
Maybe that's just me, but no. I'll go to a park and chip, or you can go to Topgolf. closes at midnight.
That's true. That's true.
Don't tell anyone.
I never thought of that.
But yeah, no, the paying for chipping thing, I like Oak Creek. The green complexes there, they're nice. 16 an hour though. It's a little steep.
It's super steep. It's super steep.
It's a little
It's
steep.
like, bro, how do like I see people out there having to like fake that they have a tube just to be able to go out there and chip, because it's like, yeah, bro, it's tough. It's like, and then when you look at like rates to play there or rates to play at a lot of different courses, it's like the rate you're paying versus what you're actually getting. And then when I go to Northern California and it's super accessible to, like, bro, I played, practiced, and ate, and I think I only spent like $45 for all of it.
Where'd you play?
I played at Hagen Oaks.
Great course.
Great course. Wonky a little bit.
That's it.
Yeah, but Hagen Oaks, ate food, and hit like a medium bucket, chipped, really good chipping area, really good putting area. I felt I got better. I got a lot better that day on $45 than $16 a chip, $20 to fucking hit balls on some grass.
Okay, it's hard. Like the $16 chip. Yeah, that's kind of tough. But Northern California courses, usually sub hundo, you can get a lot.
Poppy Hills. You can play Poppy Hills. There's so much to talk about, but dude, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to do this again because there was a lot. We could go all day, and there's so many more things I want to ask you. But tell everybody where they can find you, where they can see you, all the things.
So socials at Ube Wolf. DMs open, questions, what have you, and yeah, hopefully we get to shine a lens on whatever this year and kind of play some more G.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.